Welcome into our lives.
And welcome to the Expanders Club podcast.
We're so happy to have you.
Join us as we embark on a journey of deep exploration, soul searching, and asking the hard questions.
With the goal of truly understanding the most aligned, empowered, and purposeful versions of ourselves.
We want to live an extraordinary life, and we're willing to dig deep to find out what it takes.
Buckle up. You're about to meet a new version of yourself, an extraordinary one. Welcome, friends, to the Expanders Club podcast. I am Brooke, a founder in the wellness space, a wellness junkie, and just a girl trying to live life and, be her best. Some days doing better than others.
I'm Maddie, and I am a lifestyle optimization coach and wellness advocate, community builder, and your hype girl.
Yes, you are everyone's favorite hype girl. And, we all need that. And I think we were really hyped about the guest in today's episode and cannot wait for everyone to listen to this one, Elissa Goodman.
She has the juicy info. She's got the goods. You guys are going to want to take notes.
Yeah, sit down with your notepad for this one. We're also linking a bunch of stuff in the show notes, but this was one that is going to be a life changer for Maddie and I, just some of her tips. And we cannot wait for you guys to start incorporating them as well.
I mean, I've already written a list of all the things I'm going to start doing, like ordering a juicer already. Although she speaks about, you'll have to listen to the episode, but speaking about the habits that she has, the routines that she has, the different things that she consumes on a daily basis. I'm like, get that in my daily routine.
Yes, this woman is a guru. She's going to be 64. She literally looks 25. I will do anything she tells me, basically, from here on out. I'm following
full trust,
every tip and hack. And she is an OG in the industry. I've been following her for 14, 15 years, really, when I first started to fall into thinking about this holistic health and wellness and understanding what it meant. She was one of the few nutritionists in Los Angeles putting out that type of content and talking about juicing and supplements and cleansing. And so this was a little bit of a fangirl moment for me, getting the opportunity to talk to her. And Mads, as you experienced, she is just such a wealth of knowledge.
She is, and I just love her approach to it because it's simple stuff, and then she's also got some juicy nuggets of really interesting products. But just her general aura and how positive she is and just joyful, happy, and the way she approaches health. It's not like strict rules. She just feels good about it. She's like, oh, I love this. It makes me feel so good. I'm so happy. She just wants to live, happy to live, like a healthy, happy life.
Yeah. She's vibrant. She's radiating. I think we all hope to be. And it just reminds me too, back when I had the juice company. So my health journey was the catalyst for me to get into cold press juicing. I fell in love with it and saw how impactful it was. And so I started a whole business around cold press juicing and had a storefront here in Los Angeles. And it just was the reminder I needed to push me back into juicing. When you're getting, it's basically like a straight vitamins, nutrients, vegetables into your bloodstream. It is so powerful and you feel so good and you radiate. And I think juicing every day, and of course being smart about, we're not talking about drinking orange juice or apple juice. We're talking about drinking juice that's all greens. But I am, after this conversation and just watching her glow the entire time we were talking, I am so motivated to get back into my regular juicing habits.
I know, and I like what she said about being able to blend the juices, put it all in your smoothie, in your blender, like a smoothie, but it's just like a juice smoothie. So you're getting all the fiber, etc. Because that's often what people say with juicing, you're losing a lot of the actual fruit and
I think we
veg.
can get lost in, certainly I'm guilty of it, but in the health and wellness space, we can get kind of lost in wanting to do the exact best version. So if you do any research on juicing, which I have done plenty owning a business. There's like the most nutrient dense, like least harmful to the micronutrients, best way to juice is cold press juicing. But it's a pain in the butt. It's a pain in the butt to clean the equipment. You have to buy equipment for at home, and it's not absurd, but most good cold press juices are around $400 and $450. So I love how she just approaches things so practically and is like, if you're not juicing at all right now, throw your shit in a blender and start there. You're going to feel a huge difference. It doesn't have to be this perfect top amount of every little micronutrient juice. Start with a blender. If you're doing that consistently and feel how good it is, then okay, then invest in a juicer down the road and take it to the next level. But like, just start with what you have access to.
Yeah, making it approachable and easy, which I think are definitely buying a juicer, the cleaning, everything is like a barrier to entry. So it's just making it easy. And then once you know how good you feel and you can actually fit it into your routine, then you commit.
Yes, exactly. Then you take it to the next level. But like, just get it in the routine. Yeah. I love that. She's so practical and made everything feel really accessible. And I think that's important when you're on or starting your health journey.
Yeah, really loved this conversation. I think you guys are going to enjoy it.
All right, everyone, enjoy. We'll see you on the other side.
See you on the other side.
Elissa Goodman, we are just thrilled to have you. I am literally fangirling right now because I have followed you far before holistic wellness was cool. You were in my eyes, at least, at the forefront of this. And 12, 13, 14 years ago, when I had some major weird health issues, you were one of the few people like talking about it and putting out resources. So thank you. And I'm a huge fan.
Oh my God, that's a great introduction. The fangirl stuff is so fun. You know, you just never know whose lives you can touch. And when you do find out who you have touched, it's the ultimate.
Yeah, it's the reason to keep doing
the OG.
this.
Yeah, you've done such a great job.
Thank you.
And I think we can't ignore you are also the most glowy human that we've ever seen. Like, what?
I can't believe
possible.
I think you know it's possible. I'm sure you get this all the time.
You've reversed aging.
That's a goal. The goal is to turn back the clock. It's like, I'm going to be 64 in a month. I'm like, oh.
That is incredible. You look better than us. So we have to touch on that for a second. What's going on? What's the secret? Give it to us, please.
It's not rocket science. The secret to aging and thriving when you age. I mean, it is really about finding self-love. You hear that all the time. It's all over social media, right? But my whole life, I never really knew what self-love was. It was sort of, was brought up like that was an ego thing. Mm-hmm. You had a big ego. It was egocentric. If you loved yourself, it wasn't about self-preservation or just, really taking care of yourself. So finding that for myself 4 years ago was a game changer, as well as just the calmness, finding calm and peace. It comes along with the self-love a lot of times. Yes. So, we are always on the fast track, and I live that way for my entire life. And I talk to clients every day, fast track, how am I going to get to the end point here? Or, how am I going to feel better? Like, what do I have to do? What are the 50 million things I have to do? Or, we're constantly on a treadmill, trying to figure out how to be better or how to solve something. But instead of just believing in ourselves that we can do it ourselves and we can tap into our instincts and intuition, that finding that self-love and that peace can actually get you like almost all the way there. Yes, healthy food is also incredible, and I juice every day. That's probably a big one of mine in terms of skin and like getting the nutrients I need. I do take some really incredible supplements. I am a little bit of a Nazi when it comes to sleep, and I'm just I exercise. So I it's just those things that I do that everybody can do, that most people know about, but they just maybe don't do all of them together.
But I love the self-love part. Like, how did that shift for you?
It was a really wild story because I had been doing the nutrition thing and loving it, and really got into a pickle with some insomnia 4 years ago. Really, really bad insomnia where I was trying everything, every kind of herbal remedy, acupuncture, everything I knew how to do, going off caffeine. I just couldn't get the insomnia under control. And one night in the middle of the night, I'm, like thinking to myself, like emotionally, I'm not okay. Like I feel,
Yeah.
I couldn't turn my brain off. Emotionally, I didn't feel good about myself. Like I had been running this rat race and I think I hit a wall, really.
Yeah.
And so I ended up having to do a psilocybin journey, a mushroom journey to get my
Love it.
shit together. And I would
So
have to
good.
say
Wait,
yes,
this was 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
So let's
Mhm.
recap that for a second. You were 60 or 60-ish when you were doing your first mushroom journey
Yeah.
and discovered self-love.
Mm. You got
Wild.
it. I know.
Oh,
It was, and I always said, oh my God, couldn't I have discovered it earlier? But at least I did.
Go
And
out
couldn't
and
I
do
have discovered,
mushrooms ASAP.
yeah, mushrooms earlier? But at least I did. So, yeah,
and it
no,
was
I
in
have
one
to tell you
sitting.
guys, that first journey, I've done many since
Mhm.
ayahuasca and mushrooms and all kinds of plant medicine, but because there was a lot of stuff I needed to work on. But that first journey showed my subconscious, I like was in my subconscious and I could see how I had labeled myself a sick person. Like
Yeah.
I was always looking over my shoulder, wondering when I was going to get sick again because I was sick my whole life. And then my husband had passed away. So I was petrified that something was going to happen to me or something was going to happen to my girls. And so I was living in this just terrified state that I didn't realize. I
Yeah.
had no self love, no sense of peace or calm. And on that journey, I felt the peace and calm. And I was like, holy shit, this is
I
what
want more of
calm and
this.
peace feels like.
Yes.
I had never felt it in my entire life. And the self love part was like, it took a lot, to get there. But it just, I was able to viscerally feel what it feels like to love yourself and to be calm and peaceful and to like see what the fear was doing to me and like how much I beat up on myself because I'm
Yeah.
not perfect and I'm not doing everything right. And, it just was crazy. And after that, everything kind of like started to fall into place in a huge way. Just my instincts, my intuition, things unfolded work wise, friendship wise, relationship wise. Things got better and better. So
It's
it's pretty
so
cool, what our life can be and what we can manifest when we get to that place.
and it's so
Beautiful.
wild when you have that journey of evolution and you get there and the answer is self-love. You're like, oh shit, duh. How could I have not figured that out on myself? But it's then hard to quantify and share with someone else the steps to get there because you just all of a sudden have this knowing of a lot of things that you didn't know. But a lot of work went into your journey to get there. It's not like you could have
Yeah.
started, and I'm not sure where your journey started and would love to get into that, but it's not like you could have not had the experiences you had before and then just gone and taken mushrooms and been like, cool, self-love. I don't have to go through all that other pain and hardship.
Right.
It is a journey. And for Maddie and I, we often have this conversation about like how to share with people where to start. And every time it comes back to food and wellness. Because I believe, and I'm sure you do, that if you're not feeling good, you can't get to that place of discovering self-love, facing your true traumas, understanding how to help yourself. And so can you tell us, reverse a little bit? I know we also talk about try to share like, hey, sometimes those deep, dark moments are exactly what you need for a catalyst for true change and true growth. And I know you've had many of those deep, dark moments. Can you share a little bit about your journey and the different catalysts and how you got to this place at 60, almost 64, where you look 25 and you are just living your best life?
Thank you very much for that. And I truly am, and it's wild to think about it. But you know, when I was growing up, I was sick all the time. So I was born with like a low white blood cell count. So no one at those days, 30, 60 years ago, knew how to restore our immune
Yeah.
system. All they used to say is like, you need to get more sleep, you know. Um, and even then, it wasn't really talking about healthy food and more vegetables and more hydration and any of that stuff, the basics of it. But at least I lived in Arizona and there was a lot of vitamin D. So that was one thing going for me. But I was sick all the time. I constantly, you know, and my parents were like, oh, there she goes again. She's sick. You know, it was just sort of really, I think when everybody labeled me a sick kid, I did. I had two parents who were super successful, and everything that they did. And they were just go-getters, and they'd get up at 5 a.m, you know, and accomplish everything on their to-do list by the end of the day. You know, here I was trudging along, not getting even a third of my to-do list done and going, what the hell? I'm younger than them. I should have more energy and, you know, all of that. But so emotionally, when I was living with them, was really torturous because, you know, I felt very behind the eight ball and I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel like I could ever keep up. So not only did I energetically and physically feel just low energy all the time and craving sugar or even caffeine in those early days to get my energy levels up. But I also emotionally felt really behind the eight ball. So it was really a tough combination. And when I graduated college in Arizona, I moved to New York and just, you know, went into the advertising marketing business in the fast paced world.
Yeah. Perfect place.
Right. And it was definitely fun in that regard because New York was really fun. But it was just like I was sick all the time in New York as well, and especially because of the weather. And it was just kind of, and also the work and the environment and all of that. So I met my husband in New York, and one day, you know, I was just like, I just needed to move back west, like the weather, you know, just like the lower key lifestyle. I was just craving, back in, you know, my environment where I came from. So we did move to California. And it was interesting because when I moved to California and I was in I had a sales job with Vogue magazine, and I felt like I had landed like the ultimate sales job with magazine sales. And 6 months in, I got diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And by the way, the Vogue magazine job was not the end all at all. It was the worst job I've ever.
My gosh.
Talk about the pressure and stress and like, oh baby. So I get diagnosed with the cancer, and I was getting a massage, and the masseuse found a lymph node on my collarbone. So it wasn't that I felt sick, because I didn't even know. I probably was feeling sick all the time, you know, so I didn't know. But she felt a lymph node on my collarbone, and she's like, get that checked out. And the next thing I knew, it was Hodgkin's lymphoma. And then I went to see all these doctors, and cancer still today is like a scary thing, and cancer doctors are scary. And, you know, they're just like, they don't make you feel calm or safe or like any of that. And there was one doctor that I went to see reluctantly because I had seen a lot at the end of my journey. And he said to me, like, it's an early stage of cancer, you know, tell me about your life. Are you stressed? Do you love what you do for work? Do you love your husband? Do you love do you love your life? Do you also like sleep well? What's your emotional, you know, regulation like? And I'm like, what? Like, no one has ever asked me those things ever. And let alone like, yeah, therapist, of course, but not like a doctor. And I remember bursting into tears being like, I don't even know what happiness is. I don't even know what not being stressed is. Like I would have no clue of what, where I'd want to be with all of that. And he was like, wow, we need to get your emotional well-being under control. And I went into therapy. I read every self-help book. I dove into like a lot of things that LA had to offer, which was such a perfect timing to move to LA. I started juicing. I became a vegan. I did acupuncture. I did yoga. I did colonics. I mean, went to see a naturopath. I love
LA
all that
life.
stuff. Yeah, LA, right. And Mrs. Gooch's, which is Whole Foods, it was a beautiful place to shop. And I just thought, thank God I was here. But I did get past it. I didn't do chemo, and my oncologist
Wow.
let me go as a patient because I didn't follow his instructions. I did half the radiation, and I ended up, getting past it. But then I got hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's from the radiation because they radiated my thyroid
Oh my
area.
No.
So then it took 3 years to figure out what was going on with my thyroid, and I got anxiety, and I got insomnia then too from all of that, and just a lot, hair loss and constipation, all those things that go along with all the lovely Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism. And then I went on to have 2 girls, and I was trying to be healthy, but I wasn't terribly healthy during that time period. And then 11 and a half years, I got my diagnosis at like 32. And then my husband at 43 and a half got diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so he ended up going into full on Western cancer treatment. His was definitely farther along than mine. And he had 2 bone marrow transplants in a year and a half, which is sort of unheard of.
Oh my gosh.
And he ended up dying at 45 of fungal pneumonia. So
No.
he didn't die from the cancer. He died from the treatment, but he also didn't believe, I think, that he could survive because his dad had died of melanoma when he was 2. So I think cancer really freaked him out, where it did scare me, but it didn't freak me out. I didn't think I was going to die. So he went into a fight or flight mode that I think was, on a scale of 1 to 10, like a trolley at 12 or 13.
Yeah.
So, but it was, then he dies, and then I got a 10 and 7-year-old at home, and I'm like feeling so shitty, low energy, can't even think, brain fog, and can't sleep, and just thinking, what am I going to do with my life with these 2 girls, and myself having cancer and my husband dying from cancer. So I went back to school and got certified in nutrition, only to like learn for myself how to get healthy. I did a 2-year program that Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic, all the Western modalities, supplements. It was beautiful. But I learned so much for myself, and I started to get healthy and dabble in all of these things, and get healthier and stronger and more energized. And it was really beautiful in that regard. And then when I graduated, Cafe Gratitude, this vegan restaurant, had come down from San Francisco.
Very
They hired
familiar.
me to put a program together for them, a food delivery program, like a cleanse. And I ended up doing that with them for like 4.5 years. And a year into that, I did a program for M Cafe for 6.5 years. So I did a macrobiotic and a vegan raw cleanse, and I handheld the cleansers all those years. And I used to like investigate what's going on with blood sugar, what's going on with digestive issues, hormone issues, sleep issues, and I would talk to my naturopaths and my functional doctors. And I don't know, I just got obsessed with all of it.
Understandable. We are in a similar place that once you kind of get on board and understand how good you can feel, the obsession becomes real. But I just want to recap something for a minute. So first of all, that I know your story. I've heard it. I've listened to you. I've listened to podcasts, and it still is like so heartbreaking to hear. So man, the resilience, like my heart just goes out to that.
Thank you.
During that time, and just it's just such an amazing example of like how inspirational and like capable humans are, and like for you to pick yourself up and thrive. But it took the threat of death for you to ask yourself, or have someone else ask you, do you love your life? And I wonder, why we are not asking ourselves that more often. You know, like
No.
I recently have had catalysts that have made me ask that for the first time. You know, I'm 38 and for the first time looking around being like, wait a minute, this system that I'm in is not working for me. These things are not working any longer. Do you have any thoughts around how do we get there without these deep, dark catalysts? Like, how do we start asking those questions and thinking that way without the massive trauma?
Well, that's a beautiful question. Yeah. Like I wish that more people would ask themselves that question, because I see clients, on a daily basis, and I ask them that, every client, do
Yeah.
you love yourself?
Yeah.
Where are you at with, just really honoring who you are? Do you realize how important you are in this world?
Yes.
Like, there's only one of you and you are special. Like it's, most clients are like, no, I don't love myself. And I'm not like a therapist and a healer that can get them there. But I hope to like wake up more people to ask that
Yeah.
question. And I do turn them on to really beautiful healers that can help them, either go into their subconscious and sort of rewire their thinking. And I have a handful of people that I work with that I send them off to, because I feel like that's so crucial to have somebody, I don't think traditional therapy does that. So
Yes.
this world that we live in here in LA, or just nowadays, with the number of energy healers and meditation and hypnotists that do that are really special. I'm blown away with what they can do in terms of rewiring someone's subconscious, and to be able to, have more love for themselves and honor themselves and get them more into a place, if they're dealing with something really hardcore, to get them into a healing mindset, not a scared scarcity mindset. Like it's powerful.
Yeah,
Yes.
I resonate with this so much. Many of my clients who I'm similar to you, and I studied at integrative nutrition and course, and I speak to my clients and they want to eat healthier, they want to feel better, but I can tell that they know that they don't love themselves, and that is like the starting point, and respecting themselves and their bodies and what they're putting
Yeah.
into it, and knowing how powerful that is. So yeah, the healers
Right.
is so much more important than you think.
Right. And
Yeah.
like you can tune in, you're right, what you were saying earlier with the food, with the, proper hydration. Food can really change your mood and can, sort of tap you back into your intuition and instincts, and get you reconnected. I feel like people's
Yes.
heads are here and their body is here. And to just to reconnect them is so powerful. And I feel like just the basics of sleep and, meditating for even 5 to 10 minutes a day, and going for a walk and sitting out in the sun, right? And, eating real food, and really being properly hydrated, can do wonders for reconnecting someone.
Yeah, and I think there needs to be a more holistic approach to wellness, and I think that's something that I love about the information that you share and put out is it's not just there's not a food or a juice that is the exact answer, right? There's a million little steps. And I think that's why, I always push people, and it's so important to work with a coach or a nutritionist, because if you want to get to the place of fully loving yourself and that freedom that you feel right now, and I've had a small taste of it. I know Maddie has too. Like we're both hoping to get to the place where you are. Once you've had a taste of that, you're like, I can never go back. And you also know how worth it is, and that you would do anything to get there and feel that. And it's just a whole different level of being, of the human being experience. And it's really where we're all trying to evolve to. But I don't think you can do it on your own. You can't listen to a bunch of podcasts and like nitpick the things from those, or, I think sitting down with someone like you who has a holistic approach, or a coach who has a holistic approach, is you need a plan, and you need to be
Yeah.
willing to You need to be willing to do the work. And it sounds like you were very willing to do the work because you had this, what felt like death chasing after you
Yes.
if you didn't get
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
how do you work with clients currently, or how do you work to help people that like want your life?
So, I mean, it's really intoxicating what I get to do. Like, I can't even believe that I do what I do because it doesn't feel like work, but I love people. And first of all, I've just always had my entire life. And I'm always fascinated to get into the inner workings of how the person operates. So when I do Zoom calls, for some reason, there's like this instant connection that we have, like we've known each
Mhm.
other forever. And people will tell me, I'll ask questions about just their past and their trauma, or just all the love, or what they're doing now, and do they love the job, and do they love their life, and all of that. Just and I get so much from that. So that's a beautiful thing. I don't necessarily have to be like trained in it, but just to
Yeah.
ask the right
Yeah.
questions,
Yeah.
right? Just to dig a little deeper. And so a lot of times when we meet people, you can tell what's kind of going on with them, the stress or the anxiety, or the just, you could tell someone has had a lot of trauma over the
Mhm.
years. So I do ask a lot of questions. And then I definitely I'm obsessed right now with blood work. So
Mm.
yes, there's like the emotional component that's really crucial, but it's also getting to the root of maybe what might be causing some of this anxiety or menopause symptoms or sleep
Yep.
stuff, right? Like there could be nutrient deficiencies. There could be like, I do now blood work on most of my clients. I hooked up with a company in San Francisco, and they send a kit to my client, and we do a full panel, everything down to heavy metals. It's like $260. It's crazy cheap. And the
That's
kit comes to
amazing.
your house, and the phlebotomist comes to your house, and and they send it back to the blood place. But it's just like, I am learning so much. People's thyroids are off, their ferritin, their iron storage is so severely low. Their B12 is so low, their blood sugar is too high, like insulin, cortisol, like
Yeah.
all those things are measured. And that could be causing, the stress and the non-sleep and the anxiety and those emotional components that they can't quite seem to get under control, too. Or the lack of energy. So I love both of those things. Like, I'm loving the blood work and getting to the root, and then fixing it in like weeks time,
Mhm.
putting
Mm.
them on a program, food supplements that can really, change their life in a like short amount of time. I don't love when it takes months, and I don't love the fact that they go see all these different doctors. They go to an
Yes.
endocrinologist, the GP,
Yeah.
just the OB even, and
And none of them
nobody's,
are talking to each other. Yeah.
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 And it's all stressful for them.
Oh, yeah.
Is that where you would tell someone to start with their blood work if they weren't feeling good in their body?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I mean, absolutely. Luckily I offer a 5-day, 3-day, 5-day cleanse in Los Angeles. If you do live in Los Angeles, I
Yes.
have a shit
Mm.
ton of cleansers that do the 5-day and feel better after 5 days, because you can reset your body in five
Yeah.
days. So
Wow.
they're taking all the inflammatory foods out of their diet, and they're eating like over like 40 to 50 vegetables in the 5 days. And they're getting lots of fiber, they're getting plant-based protein, and they're just getting a lot of nutrient dense food. So they could, you could start with that, and you could start with like proper hydration, because there's an epidemic of dehydration.
You
Yeah.
could drink some water. Start
So do a
there.
little water.
Start there.
But what's happening is we have all this beautiful water, but we're just peeing it out. We're not absorbing the water, right?
Mm.
So
Yes.
it's
Let's talk about
causing,
that for a
yeah,
second, because I think that, I wanted to ask you, like, what's an ailment or an issue that you see often that you're like, this is so fixable, like, just do this. Is it hydration? Because I've been hearing that come up a lot. I've been feeling it for myself. And yeah, the water just doesn't feel hydrating anymore. Like, you can drink it and you're like,
no.
wait, I'm still
Mm.
thirsty, and I'm going to the bathroom 100 times a day.
Right.
What's going on?
It's hydration. Bottom line, we have an epidemic of dehydration, and we have all this beautiful water at our fingertips, which is so wild. But it takes minerals, to absorb, have the water go into your cells,
Yep.
and not just sodium or chloride, which is a lot of the electrolyte drinks. So it's magnesium and manganese and potassium, and could be zinc and C and sodium and chloride, those kinds of things. So and we don't have them in our soil anymore. We don't have them in our food. And if we do have them, we're not absorbing them like we should. So, I've been talking about this hydrating powder. I should be sponsored by them, but they won't sponsor me. But 8 years now, called Ultima Replenisher, ULTIMA. And it has all of those beautiful minerals in it. And I have been drinking it for 8 years, and it is a lifesaver. Like,
Okay.
it is so crazy amazing. You put a travel packet or a scoop into 32 ounces because it has stevia. So I don't love the strong stevia taste. But it is so hydrating. You don't run to the bathroom. You actually get mental clarity. You curb your appetite, you get energy. It also can calm your central nervous system because minerals do that. And also when we're dehydrated, our cortisol and adrenaline get pumping too. So it kind of calms down that. And it also helps with motility. It's like, so the one thing I have to say that is so crazy is clients will call and we'll do a session, and I'll tell them, hey, when you wake up in the morning, you have to drink mandatory 2 cups of water. Most people don't do that for some reason. So 16 ounces, because your body's been detoxing through the night. So your organs are pumping out toxins into the bloodstream, into the liver, and into the colon. So it's really crucial.
Yeah.
Anyway, people will tell me that just drinking the 2 cups of water was life-changing for them. And I'm like, you paid me $300 to tell you to drink 2 cups of water? That's so crazy. What? But yeah, that waking up before their coffee, before their tea, or, and then also throughout the day, women's supposed to get 94 ounces. That doesn't mean you have to drink straight water. It could be a smoothie. It could be a decaffeinated tea. It could be, a juice or something that is, maybe it's a salad, things that have water in it, fruit. But and men are supposed to get almost 120 ounces, but when we don't.
That was one of the catalysts for us starting this podcast too, was realizing, I've had a business in the wellness space for over 10 years, had a juice company. And so a lot of friends and acquaintances will come to me with questions on wellness, whether I know them or not. It's, everyone assumes so because you've had a wellness business, but realizing that some of the basic fundamental things people still don't know. Right. Even, I've been having a lot of conversations lately about cleaning products. People are still using toxic cleaning products. That blows my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm really in a bubble here. But stop. But simple things like that, like you said, drink water first thing in the morning. It will change your life. Right. And then we go, so there's that extreme of hey, here's some basic stuff. And then you get into these other conversations, the biohacking conversations, where people are listening to Huberman and all of these, the biohackers, and doing the biohacking stuff, but not getting the basics right of getting enough sleep, getting enough hydration, and they're cold plunging and sauna and, all of these things. And you're like, man, how do we do you have a simple message to get out there of hey, just start here and then add in some things. But if you don't have this baseline, don't skip ahead because it's not going to get you anywhere.
That's also really brilliant too, because I know it's I love all the biohacking things because I do them myself.
Yeah.
But you're right. People are missing, the hydration. They're missing eating real food. And also just making sure that they're covering their nutrient bases. And that all of those things are super crucial. And just, making sure they're sleeping. Men can get away with, 7 hours. Women need 8, 9, 10 hours sometimes. So because we restore with our adrenals, you're right. It's just and also getting that morning sun is like 15,
Yeah.
20 minutes, like is so
Yeah.
freaking crucial, like for our overall health and just not just circadian
Mental health
rhythms,
too.
mental health.
Yeah.
But those are things. And like, just even when I tell clients to like watch their sugar and take the cow dairy out and also the gluten, not everybody's gluten intolerant, of course, and all of that. And also the bad seed oils and watch the processed food, just those basics like can make people feel like crazy better. So, I mean, those are the basics. I mean, it is really the food, the sleep, the stress and the exercise, de-stressing a bit and exercise. I mean, that's where it's all at. And then if you've got those down, then like, yes, going into the biohacking can make you feel fabulous.
Yeah. I have to ask you, have you heard of this guy? God, I don't know what his actual name is, but he calls himself Zero. And
No.
his campaign is like, don't die. He's this ex-tech founder. My husband's into it. I don't want to say obsessed because he wouldn't agree with that, but he's been following him. He's this ex-tech founder, of course. I forget what company he had, one that we all know of, and he sold and made big money. And he's now making waves with this. He's trying to not die. He's trying to like live forever, essentially. And he basically is living inside of a lab and has spent the past year, a couple years maybe, defining this like exact program of exactly what to eat, which is not much. It's like powders and olive oil and supplements, essentially. How much to move, how much to sleep, like down to a T to basically reverse aging. And he's taking the measurements to reverse the aging. But the slogan is "Don't die," and that's really what he's out to do.
Right.
Don't die. And you have to look into him. I'll send you a link later.
Okay.
So to our
Sounds
listeners,
interesting.
it's fascinating, but it's also such a dude thing. You're like, like, all right, come on, don't die. First of all, like, no, that's not like, once you tap into the spirituality and like the other things about the human experience, like don't die is not our goal of being here on this planet. And he is reversing all of his stats, and physically he is reversing, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't look healthy. And he just put out a program that he's doing like with 2,000 people, and my husband's doing it, got all these powders and pills, and you basically live off of those. And it just is wild. And it's such an example of that extreme.
Yeah.
And I think you need to go up against him. I think you need, I think we need the Elissa Goodman version of not don't die, but like live vibrantly.
Exactly. I mean, I'm like, I don't preach to be like at all perfect or, but I love life. I love food. I love bad foods, I love French fries and like, I love tequila and I love like drinking alcohol. Like I love to live life, so some desserts and all of that. I mean, I just think that the restriction on a lot of these programs or, things that people have to do are just like, I think they're stressful. They really, we've got to like have some movement where we can have some space to be able to screw up and to like, enjoy our life in that regard. Like that. Yes. I could never live like that. And I'd have to, I just love going
That's
out.
Not living.
No, not at all. So
I'm excited for you to check him out though and check. It's just wild. It's just a whole different world. But it's very interesting.
I know.
And very masculine.
Right.
Don't die.
And also right now the animal protein craze, like get 1 gram of protein per body weight, so a 200-pound guy needs to eat 200 grams of animal protein. Like, Jesus. It's a lot of fucking animal protein, and your body can't like process and digest all of that. Like that's what's so crazy. I do believe in animal protein and, all of that, but man, like the extremes that people are going these days, the carnivore diet, just It's really crazy. Like there is a middle ground here where you can be really healthy and thrive and live a really beautiful life just being, walking the middle ground instead of
Yes.
having to be extreme.
Yeah, there's a group of people I think that need to like turn it down a bit and like go back to understanding the basics, and then a group of people that need to turn it up a bit and like pay attention to the basics. But it all kind of comes back to what you were talking about. There's a lot of basic things you can do to thrive, and listening to your body and listening to your intuition. And one of the things I love about starting with nutrition is it gives you an opportunity to be able to listen.
Yeah.
To listen to the body, clear your mind, listen to your intuition better. And I've always seen it as the first most positive catalyst to like, cool, if you can start to feel good, you can realize how good, like the wheels start to turn on how good life could be. And that's what I loved about when I started my juice company. I was like, man, really, if it's done right, one juice, and I know you've seen this, one bottle of fresh, cold pressed organic juice can make someone feel something where they're like, oh, okay.
It feels
That's
so good. It's like
Yes.
addictive, that feeling of drinking fresh, cold pressed juice or freshly juiced, fresh in the morning. It is so good. It's like gives you life. Yeah, she's got her juice.
I
What have
juice
we got
every
in
day.
it?
Every day. It's like really simple. Cucumber, lemon, ginger, celery, sometimes like parsley. It's like,
Right on cue,
romaine
pulls
or
out the juice.
spinach.
I love this.
Like I think this, like I started juiced forever, and then my juicer broke, and then I just started throwing everything in the blender. Oh my God. It's like, so now I get the fiber and
Okay.
the greens and it's so easy. Most of my clients can throw stuff into a blender. The juicing was for some reason a pain in the ass for them, but yeah, like
Good to know.
this juice, like I'm trying to get people to eat 8 to 10 cups of vegetables a day. So you do this, you're like halfway there pretty much. And I just think that you're right. Like after I drink this, I feel phenomenal. My digestion feels great. Like my skin is great. I have energy. So it's just, it's just a beautiful thing to do in terms of just getting those nutrients at the cellular level and going into the bloodstream and into the cells, right? Like really efficiently.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It's like an injection of like, whoo, okay, here's some vibrancy for me for the day.
Right.
While we have you, in a similar topic, one of the things I really wanted to touch on, because it is something Maddie and I have both been dealing with lately, and we've seen a lot in our community, is we are in the heart of cold and flu season. I have a 2-year-old who is bringing home super bugs. I swear to God. Like
always sick.
I have seen, well, she's healthy, but she'll get sick for a day or two. But then I have Lyme disease, and I'm recovering from mold exposure. So my immune system's not the best. And I'll be down for 10 days to her one day. And I'm just like, what the heck? One, I know it starts with, there's 2 areas, right? One, I know it starts with like boosting your immune system and prevention. But then also, like, once you're in it, what are the things to do? And so maybe we can start and talk about prevention, boosting your immune system, what we can do. Because also I'm realizing with a 2-year-old, like, you can't escape the germs.
No, I know. No, that is for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting because like people don't realize just how crucial vitamin D is. And I know that a lot of people take it, but not enough people take it. Not enough people take the right amount of vitamin D. They don't measure their D levels. Every cell in the body has a vitamin D receptor. So, when your vitamin D needs to be like 60 to 80 ml on your blood work.
Okay.
But everybody's vitamin D is below 50. So that's one way to just like, and then when you get sick, you can double, triple, quadruple your vitamin D.
Okay.
Yeah, you can actually, I double my D until I feel better. It will cut the time like down. The other couple of things I do that actually I learned years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago from the medical medium, because I worked with him for a while.
Cool.
This bioactive silver, it's Silveron makes this bioactive silver liquid. And so when I'm sick, I do a tablespoon of that in my water. You can barely taste it. It's a natural antibiotic. So I do that. And I also do this ionized zinc liquid. I love liquids. So it's
Okay,
called
same.
EIDON, ionized zinc. And you put a dropper twice a day, or you can go 2 droppers twice a day, and you can put it with the bioactive silver. Okay, like that combination is so powerful. Plus liposomal C, which is the gels, or Quicksilver makes a liquid one.
Yeah.
You can go up to like 3 grams at a minimum of C, but most people don't know that. So 3,000 milligrams. So for some reason, that combo for me, the D, the C, the bioactive silver, the zinc, is just game changing. Like really beautiful. And then I would just say on top of that, if like it's a sinus or respiratory thing going on, there's this, I love supplements, so you could talk about supplements all day long. But Source Naturals makes activated quercetin. So it's a very strong anti-inflammatory. And it, so it's 1 gram of quercetin. It has also bromelain, it has vitamin C in this combination. And for respiratory stuff, that is also phenomenal. You do it twice a day. So 2 grams, 1 gram in the morning, 1 gram at night for colds and sinus, and all that is exceptional.
Okay, so, amazing. Nice. And we will link all of this in the show notes for everyone listening. Don't fear.
If you ever want to ask about supplements, I don't know what happened to me, but I just, ever since I got cancer, like at 32, so 30 some years ago, I started like dabbling in supplements and playing around with them, and just like, and then of course the last 10 years I've just been like immersed in all of them, and it's really fun because there's a lot of shit out there. That's also
I know it's a lot to navigate. I have friends at this age that take 0 supplements, and I am like, what? How are you even alive? Like I take 20. I mean, I do have Lyme disease, so I'm taking supplements for that. But like, you need supplements like they just help you thrive so much better. And as you touched on earlier, there's a lot. You could have the cleanest, healthiest diet. You could be having the green juice every day, but our food has changed in its nutritional value, and there's a lot that's missing that I'm a huge believer in supplements too. And it's just about getting in the routine with them, and then you see the results, and that like inspires you to keep going.
Yeah, totally.
Let me guess that you probably don't. Oh, sorry, Mads. You probably don't get sick that often, do you?
Yeah, she doesn't.
Knock on wood. No. I mean, no, thank God. So, but when I do get sick, I know what to do. And that's what I really love to, sort of train people not to be afraid of getting sick. So, because if they do have like sort of an arsenal or a medicine cabinet, so to speak, that they know what to fall back on, if they get digestive issues, and they know what to fall back on to kind of help their digestion get back on track, or, the cold or flu stuff and COVID too, and all of it. It's just, it's important because we are going to get sick, I mean, we're not going to get away from it. So it is, and especially if you have little kids.
Yeah. Every time we get sick, I like convince myself I'm never going to let this happen again. And then, it does.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, is it time for our final question?
I think so.
I can't believe it's already like.
I know, this has been so amazing. I have a million
so many questions. I know. It's like too much information. It's so good, but it's so juicy. I've been taking notes.
Love it.
Okay. Elissa, can you describe in 1 word or a sentence your past self separately, your present self, and your future self?
That's so hard. But I would say my past self was very uncertain, and my present self is hopeful, and my future self is thriving.
Wow.
I love it.
Those hit. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And it
I mean, it
it
probably
feels
rings true for a lot of people,
yeah.
right? I mean, like, I know we hope as we age, we do learn the lessons along the way, and we get confronted with all kinds of things in our life that we hope that we can, like, okay, I need to learn from that and get past it and not just sweep it under the rug,
Yes.
is, I think, crucial. But we haven't been trained to not, like, we have been trained to sweep things under the rug more often than not, right? So that is hard. But if we don't, and we really face it, and we don't have, of course you're going to have fear, because I've had shit ton of fear in my life over all these things, and even fear about the future,
Mhm.
still is there, but I have
Yeah.
to work on it daily to be like, okay, like, you've gotten to this point, like, yes, shit's going to happen. Like, I know things are going to happen to me in the future. And, but, I can get past it. I'm going to be able to get past it because, I really do know that I believe in myself, that I
Yes.
can.
Yep.
It could
Yep.
be hard, and it could be like, not fun, and like stressful and all of those things, because that's life, right? But when you have gone through a lot of it, which a lot of people have, and come out the other side, it's easier to know that you can, keep going and keep
Yes.
doing it and have the resiliency.
And that's part of, why we ask that question, and something that we hope people get from our guests and from this podcast is like, there is another side, and no matter where you are on your journey, like
Yeah.
you will evolve, it gets better. And that question just allows, there have been, when I discovered you 12, 13, 14 years ago, I would have said you are thriving, and I admired you and wanted to be like you. And so it's fun to hear that for you that wasn't thriving, and there's always a constant evolution. And I think that's really inspiring. And even now you are thriving, but there's more to do, and there's always this constant up leveling, and not in a like striving pushing way, but in a just like vibrant, I'm excited about life and excited to experience it all to its fullest.
Yeah.
And you just embody that so much and are just such an inspiration on so many levels. So
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Just made my day, or my week, or my month.
Aw.
All of the
Well,
above.
well,
That
I think you're doing that for people on a daily basis. So
Thank you.
really
Yeah,
grateful for you.
very.
How can people connect with you? How can they get in your world? How can they get access to not only the information, but I know that there's products that you have out there. So tell our community
Yeah.
how to get to you.
So it's super easy. I have a website. It's Elissa, Elissa Goodman.com. And I post a lot of, like, nutrition tips every week on there, and also new recipes every week. Then I have a bunch of cleanse programs in Los Angeles. So I have a gut cleanse. I have a 5-day anti-inflammatory cleanse. I have a 3-day cleanse, and we're just launching this digestion reset cleanse for people with really hardcore digestive issues. And we also do a la carte now. So our program's
Oh,
been going
cool.
on. We're in our 9th year. So it's
Wow.
really fun. And I'm like super excited. I'm on Instagram, of course. So like, I definitely, I see a lot of clients on a daily basis, which we were talking about, which I love. So it's easy to sign up and do a session with me, and, be able to, like, get yourself to the next level. Even in that one session, really is my
Yeah.
goal. It's
Yes.
not like multiple sessions. That one session hopefully could be life changing. And if you want to go deeper, it's, doing the blood work with us, and that even gets you to even more of a, thriving and vibrant place.
See.
Yeah. Love that. I'm excited to check out the cleanses, and I feel like you need a book. Do
I
we
have a
have?
book. So I wrote a book called Cancer Hacks. It was my story and my husband's story of 4 years ago, of what we did right and what we did wrong during our cancer journey.
Wow.
And right now I'm in the process of writing a book, of course, called Pro Aging Hacks.
Great.
Everybody needs to have an anti-aging book, right? So,
yeah,
yeah,
well,
that's
everyone who
happening.
looks like you needs to have an anti-aging book. So that one will be on top of. When is that launching, please?
That's probably not going to be till, I hope, maybe the end of the year or beginning of next year. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Forget the J-Lo aging. I want to age like Elissa Goodman.
Thank you.
She looks
Thank
so
you.
good.
It's fun to be able to be like, I never in a million years thought I'd be a spokesperson for, aging and just people like, who are in their 50s and 60s that
Yeah.
feel like they're getting older and they can't do anything about it. And they're just like, okay, that's all about the age. I don't feel good. I don't have the same energy or the mental clarity or, just the sleep is bad and all the things go along with aging or the weight. Like, that's such
Yes.
bullshit.
Yes. That's a very big rabbit hole that we can get into in a whole nother episode, but would love to go there, and just so grateful for this information. I know some of the things you shared are going to change Maddie and I's life. So thank you for that, and excited for our community to listen to this and get to know you better. So thank you so much, Elissa.
Thank you for having me on.
Thanks,
Yes,
Elissa.
absolutely.
Wow, thank you, Elissa Goodman. She was incredible. You can follow along on her Instagram at Elissa Goodman, ELISSA, and her website is elissagoodman.com. She has the goods, guys. Follow along to see more of that. We are very grateful for the conversation today. We learned so much.
Yes, thanks, Elissa. And if this conversation resonated with you, please share with a friend, especially the, immunity boosting, the health and wellness hacks. It's a great conversation starter, a little less pushy than telling someone they need to get healthier. Share a podcast episode that has some fun tips and tricks. And that's
we
what
all know
this
someone who can benefit from these.
Yes. I have a few on my list that I'll be sending this to. Thank you all for hanging with us. We are so incredibly grateful that you've chosen to spend time with us. And we hope, as always, this helps you on your own evolution, your own journey. Follow along Maddie and I at Expanders Club on Instagram and TikTok. And, feel free to DM us, shoot us a little note, send us a review, give us some love. We love you all and we're grateful for you.
Thank you, guys. Goodbye.